Hello, Daily Dosers. Kirk Jones here. I've got an oxymoron for you. I'd like to wish you a happy Good Friday. It's an oxymoron because Good Friday is anything but happy. It is a celebration. It's a holiday where we remember and celebrate the death of Christ, but we do so knowing full well that the promise of Easter is fulfilled 3 days later. You see, the first Good Friday, none of that was the case. And I'd love to encourage and maybe challenge you today to sit in the tension of that first Good Friday, which was anything but happy. It was failure, it was sadness, and it was death without a resurrection. It was not victory, it was defeat. I wonder, some 2,000 years later as Christians, if we forget how good for our soul it is to mourn with the Father and to sit in the weight and the tension of the tomb, the loss, the sadness. I'm going to read a passage to you right now. It is Matthew chapter 27. I'm going to start in verse 38 regarding the crucifixion. 2 rebels were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, why don't you save yourself? Come down from the cross, if in fact you are the Son of God." In the same way, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders mocked him. "He saved others," they said, "but the guy can't save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe in him." Doesn't sound like a celebration, and it doesn't sound like a holiday. "He trusts in God. Let God rescue him now if he wants him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" Verse 44. In the same way, the rebels who were crucified with him also heaped insults on Jesus. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of those standing there heard this, they said, "He's calling Elijah." Immediately, one of them ran and got a sponge. He filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest said, "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him." And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. The end. Happy Good Friday. I would love to invite you to partake in Good Friday with us today. We've got services on many of our campuses. We've got an online service, and I would encourage you to check out the website. There's even a description in the link below. We want to join with you in recognizing, maybe not yet celebrating, but recognizing Good Friday, because it's setting up something spectacular that we're wildly aware of, but we're sitting in the tension of how it isn't yet fulfilled. Here's a poem that I want to share with you. Arrested and tried, tortured and whipped, our sins on his back, bloodied and ripped. The King of the Jews, his body in shambles, was given a crown fitted with brambles, stripped naked and bare for the wrong that had been done, the Father lamenting the death of his Son. Only his blood would the arrangement suffice. Man bit the apple, but God paid the price. Nailed to a post, how fitting it be that sin's birth and sin's death took place on a tree. The earth it did quake as the curtain would tear. The pierced Son of Man, man's sin he would bear. 3 days in a tomb, Christ had been slain, the innocent murdered, but it wasn't in vain. The poem doesn't end there, but we're going to stop right now because it's good for the soul that we understand that Sunday's coming. But for now, I simply welcome you, invite you, and encourage you to recognize Good Friday.